So let's start talking about how you can fix the problem with reactive and add-on security and turn it into something positive for your business. Regardless of the size of your organization or the number of hosts on your network, you've got software vulnerabilities, you've got configuration problems, and you've got this whole slew of threats looking to take advantage of the situation. So let's talk about the first pillar of good endpoint security, and that is vulnerability management. So with all the complexities that we have in our organizations and on our networks today, it's easy to make assumptions and excuses. At the end of the day, you can't protect what you don't acknowledge. I don't know what I don't know is no longer valid, and the whole issue of what you don't know can and will hurt you is very true in this situation. So you got to get in and figure out what you've got. And that's a big part of vulnerability management, getting in and seeing what you've got and being able to manage that stuff proactively. So let's talk about some common threats and vulnerabilities I'm seeing and how all this ties into vulnerability management. This list of threats and vulnerabilities are basically the things that can help make the case for endpoint security if we frame them correctly and if we sell them in the right way. So this is by no means a comprehensive list, but what I've got here, set of threats. Let's just go down the list. Employees. Obviously employees, just general users of your network, are a big threat. Be it malice, be it ignorance, be it just fat-fingering something and creating problems. They are very arguably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, threat that we have on our networks. You have contractors, people coming and going all the time, often have full reign on the network. Visitors, even neighbors, people, especially when it comes to wireless, people connecting into your environment, either intentionally or accidentally, coming in and poking around and seeing what they want to do or what they can do. You've got malware, rootkits, viruses, spyware, all the latest and greatest things that we hear about, worms, you name it. It's just a constant influx of that. And then arguably you could say that Mother Nature is a threat when it comes to hurricanes and tornadoes and just general power outages and things of that nature. And then finally, compliance. I often say that compliance can be a threat, especially the compliance in the context of industry and government regulations. It can be a threat to your viability, it can be a threat to your budget, it can be a threat to your overall well-being as a business. So you've got to learn how to manage that. Okay, vulnerabilities. Network complexity. Our networks are extremely complex. We've got so many systems, so many hosts scattered all over the place. We often don't even know what's running where, how many databases we have, how many web servers we have. It's so hard to manage because there's so much going on. And within that, we have unpatched systems, we have system configuration problems, we have logging that may or may not be working, or if it is working, it may not be monitored correctly. Network administrators are not staying on top of it because they don't have time or the right tools. Drive and share controls. This is something that, by default, Windows 2000 and Windows XP, and a lot of which is still on our networks today, by default they have some pretty insecure drive and share controls at the permission level. So a lot of people can get in and do things. And when employees start sharing their drives out, when they see that, I need to share these Excel spreadsheets with the finance team over there. Let me just create a share of my drives. Everyone has full access. And that may be fine and dandy, but they often forget about it, and it stays that way. And now all of a sudden, anybody on the network has access to their machine. Remote access, secure remote access, be it VPNs, there's wireless issues to contend with, people going to hotspots at hotels and airports and things like that. Laptops, you've got the whole issue of laptop and drive encryption, unauthorized access. Somebody comes across a laptop that's been lost or stolen, and what are they going to do when they get into it? Web applications and databases, obviously a big component of this. And then we've got these weak processes that sort of hover around all of this stuff. You know, system monitoring, change management, security testing. How is all this stuff being handled? Well, most organizations that I see are at risk in several of these areas. And a big part of knowing what you're up against with these threats and vulnerabilities is discovering what's actually on your network. You know, and it's keeping up with the vulnerabilities day in and day out and trying to manage that stuff. Did you know that some 24 new vulnerabilities are released on a daily basis? Something that's extremely difficult to keep up with. You know, and the whole patch to exploit phase is getting shorter and shorter. You know, a patch comes out, and you've got a whole team of people, the underground hackers, researchers, whoever, writing this exploit code to take advantage of this vulnerability. And all the proactive patching that we've been doing in the past, it's not a great defense, and it's becoming more and more of a problem. So the thing is, this is not just an operating system issue. This is an issue with Office applications, with all this other supporting software on our systems. You know, we've got Acrobat, we've got Firefox, we've got iTunes, we've got all of this software on every single workstation that needs to be patched as well. So anything's fair game. And all these issues, all these threats, all these vulnerabilities are just too much for IT to keep up with if they're doing it manually. And once you get these threats and you have the vulnerabilities in place, the threats are going to exploit those vulnerabilities, and it's going to create business risk.